Good morning. Happy Sunday from Bangkok. After a whole week, we're finally sort of settling into rhythms and things like that. But the stress is up there for sure. So I thought I'd talk about how it occurred to me that the stress of moving to another country is pretty much like the stress of being at the beginning of being diagnosed or understanding that you've got a chronic disease, because it's like in the week that we've been here, it's like all these things keep going through my mind about oh wow, where am I going to get this done, manual lymphatic drainage, and where am I going to find chemical free mozzie spray because I'm getting bitten, and things like that. It's like being back at the beginning again, which is really quite absurd. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. So that's what I want to talk about today. Now, this is a different time than I usually do because it's an hour earlier in Bangkok than it is in Western Australia. But I may take the opportunity to actually change the time anyway. Most of the people that watch these lives watch them afterwards, like later in the day. So I'm thinking I'm going to swap to about 9 a.m. Thailand time, whatever time that is for you. I have no idea, but I'm thinking, hubby's retired now. He doesn't need to be getting up to a 5 a.m. alarm. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at this stage, but we'll keep you posted. All right, so let's talk about the stresses. And I've written myself a little document. I had a message from a friend of mine, and she said, I was talking about the stress of food, right? And how I'm doing the best I can, but I'm not getting enough protein, and I'm not, you do the best you can when you're in a new country. And she said, yeah, but primary food is experiences, joy, love, travel, and expansion. Secondary food is actually food. And it sort of made me stop and think, because I know from research and studies and things like that, that if you're stressed about what you're eating, that actually has a bigger effect on your body than what you're actually eating. So it's about having the experience and knowing that, okay, this is not an everyday thing that I eat these sorts of foods. And once we get our apartment, which we have located one in just one short week, we have an apartment. And once we settle into that and I can go grocery shopping and get the things that I need, then things will hopefully settle down. But in the meantime, I have to not stress out about the different foods I'm choosing. I am trying to do meat where I can, but I highly suspect most of the meat things that we're eating are full of sugar because they're really yummy. So it's like, what can you do? And I know Bangkok and Thailand in general loves their sugar. It's in everything, and it's often on the tables of the restaurants you go to is sugar for sprinkling on your food. Crazy, right? So that to me is insane. So where am I at? Hang on a sec. So the stress is with the food, particularly because also I know I'm not getting enough protein. Because if you are to buy a proper steak here or things like that, then it's dearer than Western prices. So I would rather wait, and within a week we'll be in our apartment, and so I'll be able to get an air fryer, I'll be able to get a dehydrator, a slow cooker, all that sort of thing, and then cook our own food. So that will be much, much better for me. Stress of hydration. I suspect I'm not hydrated enough, although I brought my sody with me. I'm having one of these a day, but I'm thinking that potentially I need to have 2 of them a day while my body gets used to the humidity, my hair gets used to the humidity, that kind of thing. Because I know that dehydration can creep up on you without you realizing it. Hubby's really good at handing me water all the time and sort of drink. But it's just not something I reach for generally. So it's going to have to be a job of mine, and that will stress my body out if I'm not hydrated, right? Trying to work normally. I haven't, although I did have my calendar, my booking calendar blocked out for all of September. It still stresses me out that I'm not on my computer every day, working, checking things, sending emails, doing all the things. That is a stressor. So it's like, I need to, and I know that will change again with the apartment that we've gotten. It's called a 1+, so it's a 1-bedroom condo, but it's got a study. So I can set up my computer and get back to normal with my work. So that's been another stressor. What else is on my list? Just actually with the apartment, it wasn't just the stress. It was actually really super easy finding the apartment. We had a wish list of what we wanted, which included a place for me to work and things like that. And we got it really easy. But then the stress kicks in. It's like, was that too easy? Is it going to be terrible or is it going to be great? It's got a fantastic gym in it and pool, and it's a low rise. So one of the effects that I've been experiencing, and I'd say it's stress, is a bit of a vertigo thing, which I do get that BPPV, benign proximal positional vertigo, I think it's called. And every now and again, I haven't had it just in everyday life for a really long time, but when I travel, and we're on the plane was, I think, 7 hours to get here, and we're going up and down lifts. So this is on the 24th floor. I don't know if you can see the Bangkok skyline behind me, but we're on the 24th floor. So we're going up and down lifts. I'm getting on and off trains most days, on and off boats. So I'm getting this kind of vertigo-y thing. But I also know from the past, when I've researched this, that the metaphysical reason, and I like to look at the metaphysical reasons behind things, is also that you feel out of control. It's that the vertigo is a feeling of not being in control of things, which we're totally not in control. We're doing great, like we feel like we're doing great, but it's still this feeling of out of control. Just having an apartment, great. Have we picked the right spot? Are we going to hate it? Are we going to love it? Like, all the things come into your brain. And I don't know why it feels more so than in your own country. I don't know. Maybe it does in your own country, but you just don't pay attention to it as much as you do when you're not. So not sure about that one. But the stress of that, plus I've been bitten by mozzies. So 200 meters from the end of our new condo, the end of they're called soys, they're little alleys, is a place called Benjikitty Park, which is one of the big parks here, which backs onto Lumpini Park, which is the park that everybody sees online with the big giant water monitor lizards. Morning. But we went and sat there after we visited the condo, and within 10 minutes of sitting there, because it's surrounded by little like drainage canals and things like that, I got bitten alive in the inch of the bottom of my leggings. I got a few bites and had to go to the chemist and I had to Google it, what she gave me. I like bites because I was really worried. I've had bites before. Hi, Lena. How are you? What is this time better for you? Although I am going to change the time frame. As I said it earlier, and I'm going to change it to probably 9 o'clock Thai time. I don't know what time that is for everybody else, but that's what I'm going to have a go at. I went to the chemist, and because I'm worried about cellulitis from the lipedema when you get bites, and I got this cream, and I had to Google what it was. And it was corticosteroid cream but it worked really quickly. I have to say, it worked very swiftly, and the bites have gone down because it's 2 a.m. so it's worse. Sorry about that. So I got the cream. It did work because I'm more concerned right now about any bites turning into cellulitis, because I've had that happen before with March fly bites. becoming really purple, and I know from looking on all the lipedema pages now that could potentially become I'm doing great. Thank you, Lena. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to have to actually, even though I steer clear of as much chemicals as I can, I think I'm going to have to get some mozzie spray that contains DEET in it, because I think I'm more concerned. You know how I always talk about risk versus benefit? I think I'm more concerned with bites, and also over here, there's dengue fever and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm more concerned about the cellulitis. I think that it's more prudent for me to get some sort of kick-ass mozzie spray than it is to worry about the chemicals in it. So I put it on Reddit the other day. I put a post up in the Bangkok pages, what does everybody use for mozzie spray? And they've all, put this particular one in. So I don't know what's in it yet, but I'm going to go check it out, because mozzie bites definitely is a stressor for me. Once I sat there for literally, it wasn't even 10 minutes, I don't think we were sitting there, and I could feel them. So I was like, oh, that's right near where we're going to live. So that's something I have to be careful of. What else have we got? Okay, so that's most of the stress, apart from, and I can't say I have stress of getting around and finding my way around, because hubby does that. He's extremely good at directions where I am not. That is not my forte. I will come out and go the opposite way to where I thought we should be going, always, without fail. So I don't have the stress of finding my way around. He does all of that. Yeah, I think for me, it's mostly the food, and it's showing up. My legs are puffier. My measurements haven't really changed on my ankles, but I feel like my calves are puffier, and this vertigo-y thing. So that's how I feel. Oh, and I had a headache yesterday morning, which I don't get headaches, and it lasted most of the day. This morning I've woken up feeling a little bit scratchy. But this hotel room, the aircon, I'm on this side, and I feel like the aircon blows straight on me. So I'm doing all the things. I don't know. I just brought everything with me. This is a doTERRA thing, and they're called On Guard. Oh, it's back to front. On Guard beadlets. So that, my sodium electrolytes, I will be hitting myself with everything to make sure I don't get sick. Hydrocell. I talk about Hydrocell. That's in the bathroom. So I'll be doing all of that. And up until I started this live, I actually had a jumper on. In Bangkok, I had a jumper on, but the aircon is really cool. And it's really funny. It's set to 24, but I think because it's so warm outside, it feels really cold inside. So that's interesting. The upside to our new apartment, it has a bath, which I'm really excited about, not because I love taking baths. That's more of a hubby thing, but because when I have further surgeries, which I plan to have over here, it's so much easier to wash yourself when you have a bath. You can stand in or sit in. If any of you saw my arm surgery video, I would sit in the bath so I didn't get my arms wet, because water is the enemy of scars, my surgeon taught me. So having a bathtub was an absolute bonus, and it being a low rise is a bonus for this vertigo thing. So we'll see what happens there. So everything else is kind of going along fine. I think the stress of the food, but I shouldn't worry, because I know that once we move into our place next week, that things will settle down. And I'm not eating badly. We have a buffet breakfast included in this apartment hotel. I'm having roast chicken for breakfast. Afterwards, though, they had these really nice looking cinnamon buns, and I was like, and they were little, and I had a bite. They just don't do baking well here. So it was like, great. I've got a message on my screen saying you might be experiencing buffering. I've never had that before. I've hotspotted to my phone, so apologies if you are getting buffering. I've not had that before. That's weird. So I had a bite of this cinnamon bun, and it was terrible. So I only had a bite. I wasn't going to waste carbs on the rest of something that tasted awful. And everywhere we go, I've been pretty much living off meat sticks of various kinds. So chicken satay sticks, What else? Oh, pork sticks. There's this pork mince thing that's flat. I think it's called Mu Ping, but one bite of it and you know it's full of sugar of some kind. No buffering for you. Awesome. Thanks, Mum. Yeah, so it was, you just know. And we got pomegranate juice. I was really excited to get to find the pomegranate juice because a few videos ago, I was telling people about Dr. William Lee that I had been watching a lot of, and in our gut called Akkermansia, and you get that from pomegranates. And so I was like, oh, awesome, because pomegranates back in Australia, where I was like $8 for a pomegranate, and here, like, they sell pomegranate juice that's freshly juiced, and I've seen it, and I was like, and so a couple of days ago, I was like, oh, pomegranate juice. Got a bottle of it. We both took a swig and went, yeah, that's like lolly water. It was like cordial. You could tell it was real pomegranate juice, fresh pomegranate juice. However, you could also tell it was full of sugar. So it was like, oh, damn, right? So that's not going to be a good thing. But yeah, they put sugar in absolutely everything. So that's going to be a journey of why we will mostly, even though it's cheaper to eat out, we're going to probably cook from home more than anything because the sugar load is insane. So, and even the cappuccinos. So you go into, cappuccinos can vary wildly in price. If you're in the shops, if you're like Starbucks, those sorts of places, you'll pay what you pay back in Australia. So $8 for a cappuccino with almond milk and caramel syrup. So that's my go-to if I want a really nice sweet treat, right? But if you go to 7-Eleven here, a cappuccino, and they give it to you iced unless you ask for hot. I've learned that, and I keep forgetting to ask for hot when I want a hot cappuccino. But you can ask for 50% sweetness, 0% sweetness, or 100% sweetness. I can't even imagine how much 100% sweetness is here. But they're only like $1.50 for the same size that you get in the shops. So we've got a lot to learn about price ranges and finding like fresh food and eggs. At the moment, we're going to a supermarket called Tops, and it's still way cheaper than Australia. I was adding all the costings in of eggs and all that kind of thing, and it's still like more than half, less than half the price of Australian prices. However, also lots of salt. Yes, glutamate. Oh, and Mum, you watch Dr. William Lee. He's amazing. Salt and gluten, yeah, they put MSG in a lot of things. I am not sure, actually. You know what? That could be why I woke up with a massive headache, because we went to a night market the night before that headache, and I thought it was the oils and stuff, because we thought, oh, you know what? Let's just try a few of the local foods and not worry about seed oils and that kind of thing. Okay, so we had spring rolls, chicken spring rolls. Delicious, however, like, because we don't eat oily things, we were both like, we could feel it was on our fingers. We were like, oh, really oily, it was very off-putting how oily it was, but still tasted good, but not as amazing as I thought it would be. We had chicken skewers, and we had these little crispy pancakes, Thai crispy pancakes they're called, which has got like meringue in the inside and salted egg yolks grated up, and they were delicious, but by the end it was like, oh no, they're a bit much now. So there could have been MSG in any and all of those things. So that's possibly why I had a headache the next day for sure. So yeah, it's going to be interesting as time goes by, because I am watching my clothes, I'm watching my symptoms, I'm watching how I feel, because anything off, so any headaches, anything like that, is going to show up in the way of lipedema issues, right? So too much sugar, I'm going to throw my insulin out. Hormones drive lipedema. Too much stress, cortisol drives lipedema. So there's all these things to be careful of, and I'm aware of it. I'm aware that it's going to be tricky, but hopefully once we get into our condo next week, things will settle down. I can get all the things in the kitchen set up, although it's the tiniest kitchen. I will, video it at the end of one of my next videos, because this isn't going to be all about Bangkok, this channel, just so you know. It's just my journey of how I'm navigating everything. And when I realized that, I felt like I was at the beginning of probably even my thyroid journey of like going, what do we do? Where do we go? How do we pick the right things? It was actually quite interesting in my head. That's like, oh, this is exactly like starting out with chronic disease, knowing what to do. So yeah, it was an interesting realization. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm not too bad though, as long as I can not let this cold get any worse and the vertigo goes away, which being in a low rise. And once we're in our place, we probably won't be getting on and off trains quite so much, because our new place is right in the heart of Bangkok. Like, you could not get any more central, yet we're down this alleyway where it's so quiet. It's just crazy. Like, our property agent, like, she nailed it that in the first go. We did look at two, but she nailed it with the second one. Amazing. So hopefully the vertigo goes away once we've settled, and I'm not going up and down to the 24th or the whatever floor, and the trains aren't as busy. So that's it from me. And I'm watching the stress levels, and I'm trying to watch the sugar levels, and I'm trying to watch the hydration levels, and that's all I can do. So if anyone out there has any advice for me, let me know. If you have any questions for me, luckily over here, from a gastric sleeve, anyone watching from a gastric sleeve perspective, everything's little. So it's actually really quite good getting just, one or two. Like, my first day here, I think I got 2 beef satay sticks, and they were tiny. And old me, even though old me didn't eat a huge amount, I would have been like, oh, that's not going to be enough, but it was perfect, right? But everything comes with rice, which is not ideal for me. I know that that's not something that does well in my body. I can do it like every now and again, maybe even potentially once a week, but not every day. But it'll be interesting to see where stress can cause more issues if I just stop worrying about what I'm eating in so much as the item, and realize that everything here is fresh. Everything here is fresh. Like, I've had fruit, like the pawpaw, the papaya, and the pineapple, insanely good. But it's up there with sugar. But because it's so fresh and it's seasonal, it's more keto. So they very much, for the most part here, eat seasonally, which is supposed to be really good for us. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to land on the eating. And if there's one thing I've learned, is to not be dogmatic about how you eat. Lena, I'm on the journey to get the VSG. I have the last test to do and hope I will get approved. Lena, I am with you all the way, my love. That's awesome news. I'm so glad that you decided to do you and decide what you wanted. That's the main thing, because that's going to reduce our stress. Oh, see, that's the other thing I haven't done. Normally I do kinesiology. I haven't got any of my stuff out, so I haven't been doing any balances. Kinesiology sessions are called balances, in case you don't know what kinesiology is. And so I haven't had a chance to do any of those on myself, which is also probably contributing to my stress and feeling a little bit scratchy and that sort of thing. So I'll have to get back onto that. But tired of listening to negative people. Oh, you're my people. If I'm in any groups, or no matter how good they are for lipedema information or thyroid information or whatever it is, when it comes to our health, one of the biggest things that can stress us out is listening to other people's bad stories. And I just, a while back, refused to do that anymore. So that's why on Thyroid School, if any of you follow me on Thyroid School on Facebook, I'm really particular about putting positive messages up. I don't like putting up, woe is me messages, because that does us no good. Me going, woe is me, oh dear, I've moved to Bangkok, it's so stressful. It's not. It's about, how can I make sure that my stress is kept in check, because any move is stressful on the body. So we just can't listen to other people. When I first said that I was moving to Thailand, everybody was like, it's like slowing down my healing. Yes, absolutely. It does slow down your healing when you listen to other people. But moving to Thailand, all you got was, oh, do you know that there's a war there? It's actually not a war, and there's a little skirmish, I'd say, going on at the border of Cambodia. But we're still not opposed to moving to Cambodia if we decide we don't like Thailand, because we're going to see for ourselves, not listen to everybody else's negative opinions of something. I don't watch the news. Neither of us watch the news. We haven't done for a long time. So if I'm in groups, health groups particularly, in fact, I was in a gastric sleeve groups for Australia for when I had my gastric sleeve. And it was just such negative messaging consistently that I got myself out of those groups. I was like, wow, this is just no good. You believe the skirmish is resolved now. It could be. We literally don't watch the news. And normally we would watch Tim Newton Today, who is an Australian guy who reports the news. He lives in Thailand, has done for many years. And we haven't even had a chance to sort of watch much of his stuff to find out what was going on there. I think the biggest thing in Thailand at the moment is that you can't get bank accounts, or a lot of bank accounts got frozen, because of all the scam centres and stuff. And that was last week, but we had no problems opening up our bank accounts. So the skirmish being resolved, that's awesome. You know what's best for you. Everybody knows what's best for themselves. Exactly, Lena. We all know what's good for us. And you've got to sort of feel into yourself and go, oh, you know what? That food didn't feel good for me. Or, you know what? That food may not be carnivore, but I actually feel good when I eat that food. Nobody else has the right to tell you shouldn't be eating that. You can start with people's ideas. I love the idea of using carnivore as an elimination diet, because as you add things back in, you can see very clearly what affects you and what does not affect you. So, but I'm no longer dogmatic about what food we should be eating and shouldn't be eating. It's about what makes us feel good when you're eating it, and with whatever situation you're in. That is the key, I think, to figuring out what your body needs. And it's tracking. We've always talked about how do you track things in your body. I take measurements. Our scales, which we packed and brought with us, which I would normally step on every day to see where I'm at, we're not getting them out, unpacking them, because they're wrapped in like stuff to keep them safe and not crack. And we will get them out when we get to the new apartment next week. Who knows what those scales say? It could be up because of fluid retention. And I know the puffiness in my legs is because of, a lot of it will be fluid retention. It's a very humid environment here, and after the plane and that kind of things. So, but I will go back to tracking things and seeing exactly where I am at. And probably one of the first things I will include in my carnivore-ish diet is fruit, because the fruit here is incredible. But I will be pairing it with protein to slow down the sugar spike. But who knows? Maybe that won't affect me. I don't know. I don't know till I try. And I'm definitely wanting to try all the different things that they have here. The treat things, they have amazing treat things here, but that will be every now and again we'll go to markets and we'll try something. I'll film it, whatever, and see how I get on. But I will not let my body sink into a progression of lipedema. I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. I'm at the healthiest, I would say, that I've been in my entire adult life. So those scales out of turn. My husband's watching in the other room. Hey, honey. Yeah, the scales. Yeah. Our excess luggage, for anybody that wants to move abroad, we paid for $100 worth of excess luggage before we left, thinking 80 kilos, that's enough. We were still over, and it cost us $750 in excess luggage, which was like, but the worst bit was as they were weighing it, they were like, "Oh, no, every person can only have 40 kilos excess each. Like, you can't have more." And we were like standing there going, our whole life in all our bags around us going, "Oh, so what do we do now?" Luckily, they let us have it all because the plane was half empty, I suspect that's why. But yeah, it was a little bit eye-watering to pay $750, but it's our whole life. Like, we had packed it down to, we had 2 suitcases and 3 big duffel bags, and so that's what we got down to. And it is, and neither of us feel bad about it. It's just, we wanted our scales, but that was like the least of our issues. So that's all good there. But we're looking forward to setting up and seeing what we have, because at the moment we're like, oh, I need this. Hubby was needing his scales, not scales, charger for his computer this morning. Couldn't find it. Hi, Miss Orby. Thanks, Lena. He's doing really well, actually. I thought I would be the one that took this in my stride, but I got to be honest, he's the one taking it in his stride way better than me. So that's all right, Lena. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. And I will keep you posted, usually on the Sundays. It's more of a chit chat on the Sundays than it is an actual video. So next week, but I haven't got any pre-scheduled videos now. So it's back to work for me to get a video out for Wednesday for you guys. So if you've got any topics you want me to talk to, very positive, Lena. I'm very happy for you that you're going to go ahead with what you have been thinking for such a long time now. So I'm really wrapped for you. All right. So unless anyone has any questions, I will pop off, and we're just spending the day around the hotel. This has been an amazing hotel. We're really glad we got an apartment hotel, which has got a washing machine and a kitchen. So I've been making scrambled eggs for us for dinner at night, that kind of thing. So awesome. In wraps. Wraps are a saving grace at the moment in this transition period, but they are expensive. So anywho, that's it from me. And I will see you all next Sunday. Now, I'm going to change the time. So for you, Lena, it could be even worse. So, but we're going to change the times up, and you will see it, because I always post it the day before when it's going to be, till I get a good, happy medium time for retired husband and for working me. So have a great week, everybody. And I will talk to you all next Sunday. Bye.